Hello, I'm Dylan Kakawa and this is Isaac Lee. Welcome back to MTG Bazaar coverage, where we are going to cover the first of two semi-finals.
Yeah. So what are we looking at in the semi-finals?
Well, we have Grixis versus Bots.
And who's on bots?
Mr. Bot himself.
Mr. Bot himself!
Thomas Bot, our first seed in Swiss, going undefeated in the Swiss. 701 day one, and then XO202 day two.
Wow, okay.
So, actually undefeated. Did not drop a match.
Hasn't dropped a match yet.
Picked up one unintentional draw and two intentional ones.
Wow, that's amazing effort from Thomas Bot on the workshop's bots plan.
Yep.
And Giudes on the Grixis plan. What's this matchup like for Grixis?
It can be hard.
Okay.
It can be very, very hard sometimes. Bot's fast mana can really outpace what you're trying to do by playing all these efficient threats and like spells or counter magic, which allows you to just have a mana advantage earlier to go over them to like where Grixis is struggling because it's trying to play fair.
Yeah. Things like Fatal Push can't actually target things that cost 4 more mana. So for more than 4 mana.
More than 4 mana.
Yep. What are the kind of cards that Giudes wants to see in order to actually jump in front?
So in game one pre-board, Giudes is going to want to slow any of Tom's mana if possible. But ideally what Giudes is hoping for is Tom has a bit of a stumbly hand because Bots is one of those decks where it has nut draws that some decks just can't beat.
Yeah. Workshop, Mishra's Workshop, taps for 3 mana, play a mana vault, and hello, little 5-drop artifact on turn 1.
Yeah. Giudes is going to be wanting to look for Force of Will mainly as his primary card and use of points. That's going to allow him to break serve effectively by throwing Tom off and then maybe being able to catch up by actually casting spells a bit more fairly.
Yeah. So you can definitely invest a bunch of mana as the bots player into one big threat, and if that gets Force of Willed, sometimes you're like, I do have a lot of mana, but I don't have any additional threats, because that balance between mana-producing lands and artifacts and ramp versus the actual payoffs sometimes can be a bit tenuous.
Yeah, and while Shops has like some very big and scary threats, much scarier than Grixis normally. If Grixis can keep the board clear, its threats are still very powerful and efficient and can get the game over with really quickly. So Tom only needs to stumble for like 2 turns and he dies, basically.
Yeah.
And Giudes will not be taking the pressure off. When he sees weakness, he goes for it.
Oh, yeah. You know, one thing that I actually really like about this is that we're playing in the top 4 here, right? So obviously, first place, Black Lotus, huge to take away a Black Lotus, the most expensive card in Magic the Gathering. But even in the top 4, these players, if they lose this match, are going to walk away with a Time Vault.
Oh, yeah. And the winner is going to walk away with, at minimum, a Mox Emerald.
That is fantastic. So who's playing some big stakes Magic here in 7-Point Highlander?
Yeah. Difference between 3,000 and 5,000 or so.
Nothing to sneeze at. All right.
But it's definitely been a successful weekend for both of these players here.
Yeah, going undefeated day 1. And then Giudes also, we've covered him earlier, the two of us.
Yep.
Some really tight plays in order to navigate around all the different complexities in 7-Point Highlander in order to then get into this position of top 4, walking away minimum Time Vault, and then looking into Mox or Black Lotus territory.
Oh, yeah. He's a phenomenal player, and I'm sure he'd be plenty happy to pick up an extra bit of power or something else.
Yep. Now, I spy with my little eye a City of Traders and a Mana Vault there, which is some heavy producing mana cards, but also City of Traders as your first land can be a little bit awkward.
It can be a bit rough, and because you got the Mana Vault, you don't necessarily need the second mana, so you can just play it off one land. You maybe want to go a bit slower. Depends what kind of thing you're playing on turn 1.
Yeah.
So I did see a Nettle Cyst in Thomas Bot's hands as well. So you could play a turn 1 Nettle Cyst.
Turn 1 Nettle Cyst, and that would turn on the Gaze Cradle that is in hand as well. So, and just I guess it depends on what's on the top of the library, but even a tapped Mana Vault actually gives +1/+1 to the Nettle Cyst and can create a lot of pressure really early on.
Yeah. Giudes is definitely on the back foot being on the draw because Tom has crushed his way through the Swiss and earned himself the privilege of being on the play every match.
Yep.
Very powerful thing when you're a bot deck.
Mm-hmm.
So Giudes picks up Spell Snare, Fatal Push, Dragon's Rage Channeler, Force of Negation, Drown and Lock going to the bottom, Quarry Steelcutter, and a Marsh Flats.
Okay, and we're starting off. City of Traders into Automaton.
Patchwork Automaton, I believe.
Patchwork Automaton.
So this is a really sticky creature because it has ward, but it also gets bigger every time you cast an artifact spell. You put a +1/+1 counter on this card, and this thing is so annoying on turn 1 because it has ward 2. So I can't even kill it.
Can't kill it. Giudes kept the Force of Negation hand, but you can't Force of Negation that either. So instead we're going Fetch Land into Dragon's Rage Channeler, going down to 19, over to Thomas Bot. Thomas Bot still having access to 2 mana from the City of Traders, can then also play a land, and then tap that for at least 1 mana if it's the Gaia's Cradle, as well as that Mana Vault, which is going to make that Patchwork Automaton grow. And yeah, going to be good times for Thomas Bot at this start.
Yeah, he could choose to play the Mana Vault and then use it to cast the Nettle Cyst, putting an extra creature on board for the Gaia's Cradle. Giudes seeing this and goes for the Force of Negation.
Oh, this could put a bit of a foil into the plans.
Yeah, so he's pitching Spell Pierce and has Daze. So he couldn't Daze there because, well, Tom had 1 additional mana floating from the City of Traders. So
Yep. So Thomas has the option to play a land here, but that would get rid of the City of Traders. He's got 1 mana floating, so really could only play 2-drop spells. So we are going with a
Stonecoil Serpent.
A 1-cost Stonecoil
Serpent.
Yep, and then attacking for 3.
Yep, scary card, Patchwork Automaton.
So choosing not to play a land this turn because of that ability on City of Traders, that when you play a land after you play City of Traders, it's going to put a trigger on the stack, and that trigger, when that trigger resolves, you're going to have to sacrifice that City of Traders.
Yeah, I think he's wanting to save up for 4 mana to play in that turn because he does have the Mystic Forge in hand. So if he can get a Mystic Forge into play, maybe he can mitigate the damage of like the city going away and recoup it with other lands off the top or just anything else. If a Mystic Forge resolves against Grixis and stays on the battlefield for more than a turn, it's so much value.
Yeah, it's pretty awkward. Although, not as much value when you don't have mana to cast the spells that are on the top.
That's true. You are looking to draw your mana rocks and stuff at that point to just keep going and then untap with a whole bunch of mana. Thought-Knot Seer is also a possible play here that Thomas Bot has. So losing the City of Traders, Gaia's Cradle, 4 mana, casting a 4-drop, which Giudes is probably going to Daze here.
Makes sense.
Thought-Knot Seer clearing the way, but Giudes gets 2 things out of this. He gets to get rid of the City of Traders.
Yep.
And he gets to deny Tom another creature for the Gaia's Cradle, which he's currently reliant on.
And don't forget a little Surveil from that Dragon's Rage Channeler as well.
Ah, very true. It's always a good thing to remember those triggers.
Yep. And no growing of the Patchwork Automaton because Thought-Knot Seer being an Eldrazi, not an artifact.
Ah, yes. Imagine if Patchwork Automaton was colorless spells.
Haha, yeah. All right, so we'll resolve that Surveil. Get that Thought-Knot Seer out of here.
So Surveil's staying on top. I think this might be a land, because I believe Giudes has a Fatal Push in hand, so he might be looking to deploy Corey Steelcutter and Fatal Push the Stonecoil Serpent, really attacking Tom's mana.
Okay, yep, makes sense. Now, at this point, because the Patchwork Automaton is a 3/3 and potentially could get bigger, do you want to just spend all of your mana on the Patchwork, or do you want to, like how good is the extra 1/1 on the Corey Steelcutter?
It's difficult to say at the moment. Being able to basically have a bunch of 1/1s that you can keep making each turn, you can just block the Automaton forever.
Yep.
So I think I just want to be mana efficient. But you can definitely make an argument for killing the Patchwork Automaton and saving the Corey Steelcutter for later. Because this thing is going to be harder to kill overall, and the Stonecoil Serpent is just a 1/1.
Yep, makes sense. And that's what Giudes has gone for. So we see a Surveil and keeping that on top. And then we're getting in for 1 damage or 3 damage here. We got instant, land.
It's just a 1/1 here.
Yeah,
at the
just a
moment.
1/1.
So Tom obviously choosing not to block because then he'd have a Gaia's Cradle with 0 creatures. Tom showing that he doesn't have another land drop. Giudes has kept a spell to the top previous turn. Corey Steelcutter into Brainstorm.
Yeah, okay, so had Surveilled that, left it on top, knew that that was going to happen, and then attacked for 1 damage there. Now, normally that would be a bad idea when you're on 12 life and your opponent's on 20 life. Attacking for 1 damage and letting your opponent deal 1 damage, not great. But when you know that you're going to be able to create a monk next turn, you're going to Surveil, then you're going to resolve this Brainstorm, you go, you know what, maybe I'm actually going to get in here and do the damage whilst the damage is good, and I'm actually happy to trade one damage for 1 damage at this point in the game.
Yeah, so Giudes has picked up a Wanshing Tong, a Duress, and a Drown in the Lock. But the Drown in the Lock isn't able to kill the Stone Coil Serpent. We don't have Delirium?
I do not believe so
No,
at this point because we just put another land in the bin, so we've only got lands and instants actually. We're still.
Well, we put a Deadpool in the bin earlier with the Dragon's Rage channel after casting the Corey Steelcutter.
Yep.
Judas surveilled Deadpool into the bin.
Okay, cool, because we didn't have access to the 4 lands. So Candelabra being the play from Thomas Bott. I gotta say, I love all these cards coming out from Thomas Bott. I've certainly seen their fair share of concrete.
Oh, so this is a bit unfortunate here. Judas has a Drown in the Lock, which doesn't have any targets for, because the Stone Coil Serpent has protection from multicolored.
Yep.
Also doesn't have a second black source. Gets to surveil, sees Walking Ballista, Night Scythe, ship of some description. It's one of the 40k precon decks. Makes a Necron. I'll bring it up.
Ah, yes, yes.
And then Nettle Cyst and Mystic Forge.
Yeah. So can't take the Walking Ballista. Night Scythe in the bin.
Yeah, that's definitely the scariest thing, I think, at the moment, because it does make 2 creatures.
And that is the sorcery that adds the last type needed in order to get Delirium on. Thomas Bott going down to 10. 10 versus 9 at this point. So
yeah, Judas's clock is still quite fast, and if he's able to cast multiple spells, these monk tokens are going to get pretty scary.
So Jeweled Amulet coming down for Thomas Bott. So can charge a green into that in order to have potentially 2 mana next turn to be able to cast maybe a Walking Ballista. But it's looking dangerous here. We're getting in for 5 damage, putting Thomas Bott to 5, and then passing the turn with Drown in the Lock open.
So this Walking Ballista might actually be a lot worse for Thomas Bott than he realizes, because if this gives Judas the ability to Drown in the Lock during his turn as a target, might give him an extra monk token as well as buffing the previous ones with prowess.
Ooh, that is spicy. Because I don't know. I think that if I got Drown in the Lock, there's a big part of me with that Gaia's Cradle in play that my instinct is to say I don't want that to come into play. I don't want it to be anywhere near there. So let's see how Judas responds.
I'm going to flash in a Wanching Tong for 1.
Yep.
Another note is because the Duress was played last turn, it did give the Dragon's Rage channel Delirium.
Yeah. That's why we got in for 5 damage. And so Washington coming into play, Walking Ballista coming in as a 1/1, and that gives the Drown in the Lock target as well.
Yeah, so the reason he's played Wanching Tong in response to Ballista is that Wanching Tong doesn't actually enter with counters. It is a triggered ability.
Yep. So you're going to take 4.
So it's a bit funny. So Bowmasters works kind of well into it as well, but Judas here with the Drown in the Lock removes the blocker and
that's enough. Yeah. So that little stumble, and honestly, the biggest point here was that Force of Negation on that Mana Vault. Absolutely clutch play, and that's what Judas was mulliganing into. First hand, didn't really have anything that you could really interact with. Second hand, we saw that Force of Negation being kept there, something else being put to the bottom. I'm going to keep this Force of Negation and a blue card, and I'm going to hope to snag something like a Mana Vault, and that's exactly what happened. So really well played by Judas, and then that acknowledgement that I want to kill as soon as possible, so that something like a Mishra's Workshop doesn't come along and bust open Thomas Bott's hand. Let's have a look at this sideboard. So we're going to have a look at the difference between Thomas Bott and Matthew Judas's deck, just making sure that we've got the right one up on screen.
So Matthew Judas has cards like Consigned to Memory, Energy Flux. He can choose to bring in a Toxic Deluge as he's on the draw if he's feeling a little scared. But other things that he's got access to, like the Null Rod, Price of Progress. And let's have a look at Thomas Bott's sideboarding here. What do you think? How do you think Bott sides into Grixis?
That's really interesting because losing game 1 is a little scary for the Bott's deck because you know that there's a lot of artifact hate coming. And so you might want to go, you know what? I think I need to bring in some lower casting cost things, like maybe Khan the Great Creator. Maybe I want to be on the play, have a Trinisphere so that I can possibly go, yep, all right, workshop Trinisphere, or turn off the Force of Negation, Force of Will aspects. But other than that, I'm looking at a lot of cards here that don't have this huge impact against the Grixis deck because you're kind of feeling a bit safe against Grixis. There's a big point of positivity playing the bots deck is I've got a good matchup versus Grixis.
Yeah, you can just go over the top, but as a result, you're lacking a bit in sideboard, whereas Grixis does get to bring in some really powerful haymakers against you.
Yeah.
Sometimes people bring in Unlicensed Hearse against Grixis just to tax the graveyard and stop things, but it's usually for the grindier matchups. Stopping Taskers is just kind of like a bonus, but it's not really necessarily what you want to be focusing on in this matchup.
Yep. So really interesting setup here. I'm hoping to see a Serum Powder. Do you know Serum Powder? Have you played much with Serum Powder?
I've played a lot of Serum Powder in my day. I've played a fair bit of Vintage.
Yeah, cool.
Do you like me some Serum Powder?
All right, so here's the Grixis list from Giudes. What do you reckon Giudes is bringing in here?
Definitely the Energy Flux and Narod. Those are two things to start.
Yep.
Price of Progress is how you win a lot of these matches.
Yep.
Colligan's Command destroys an artifact, might hit a creature, discards a card. Thomas Bot does run a lot on cards, doesn't have a huge amount of ways of getting pure card advantage. And then Consigned to Memory as well is just something that snags everything.
Okay, yeah.
You're never really replicating it in this matchup, but it's a 1 mana counter spell, and that's what kind of axis you need to be fighting on, because turn 1 you might be able to get away with not doing anything. Chops might not do anything. Turn 2, they're almost certainly doing something, assuming they haven't mulliganed to a really poor hand. But Thomas Bot knows how to play this deck really well. He knows how to mulligan with it really well. He's played this deck for many years and had a lot of success with it, including winning a Mox Emerald in a Moto tournament that you hosted, Isaac.
Yeah. Thomas Bot won a Mox Emerald in a Moto-based tournament for 7 Point Islander a couple of years back.
Yeah, during COVID lockdown, Isaac said, I want to give away a Mox Emerald. I still want Highlander being played. And then Pat sponsored the other prizes. Isaac ran it. It was a fantastic tournament.
Yeah, a lot of international players getting into 7 Point Highlander for the first time in the middle of COVID, having the opportunity to play online versus other people.
Yeah.
Pretty amazing.
When word spread that a paper Mox Emerald was like up for grabs, Moto, like a lot of the internationals joined.
Yeah, sweet.
And they had a great time. 6 of them in the top 8.
Was there 6
Yeah, there were
internationals?
only 2 Australians in the top 8.
Thomas Bot was one of them.
Yeah.
Saved me on paying for postage.
To America.
Oh, well played, Thomas. Well played. So what cards are we siding out here? Because I'm thinking that pretty easy one She coming out because Thomas isn't going to be shuffling his library very often. But do you take out cards like Daze and Counterspell, or are they like ways to like...
Oh, no, we need those in. Like, even though they can be bad late game, you sometimes just need to have them like to catch up. If you can go like Consigned to Memory into Counterspell, that usually buys you enough time and enough traction to then maybe get on board and leave open some interaction so that you can sort of swing the game into your ball court here. The cards you're looking at removing...
Voidwalker?
Voidwalker's a bit rough. That being said, you can do some really funny things with Voidwalker and discard spells. Steal the bot's cards and then play them yourself.
Speaking of discard spells, Inquisition of Kozilek, whilst you're on the draw against the bots deck. Is that a card that we're coming out on the draw but leaving in on the play?
I think it's a vibes thing, to be honest.
A vibes thing, yeah.
I think it's a vibes thing. It's probably better on the play because you're more likely to be able to hit a Mana Vault or something else. But the Shops deck is so wide in all its questions that it asks that even it doesn't know what questions it's asking. So it's really hard to predict what questions Shops is asking when it doesn't know.
Yeah.
So that's why it's always hard to sideboard out cards in this matchup. And that's why I say it's vibes-based.
Yeah. And you can see that power of a card like Force of Will or Force of Negation when you can just get the linchpin on the bot's deck and say, you know what, I stopped one piece of your mana generation that actually stopped multiple pieces of mana generation. Because the mana bot would have been able to play more creatures, which would have turned on the Gaea's Cradle, which would have been play more creatures, which would have been more mana available to Thomas Bot.
Yeah, a lot of these Shops hands do focus on like a linchpin, and it can be easily broken up by a Thoughtseize. But definitely harder when the bot's deck is on the play and gets to deploy something first. I think.
Although we did see Thomas on the play that game, but we saw a turn 1 City of Traders into a Patchwork, not into the Force of Negation on like a Mana Vault.
Yeah, if that city had been like, if that city had been an Ancient Tomb, probably a very different game there. But you never draw the right one.
Or actually, if you're Thomas Bot and you have gone undefeated, you've actually drawn the right one many times this tournament.
No, I reckon he's drawn the wrong one every time. He's just that good.
Yeah, look, that could be the solution.
All right, Thomas Bot in the tank. He's got a difficult decision here. A Saga, Ancient Tomb, Mox Opal, Lodestone Golem, Spire of Industry, Waterscape Battle Mage.
Yeah, the Battle Mage. Now, bringing that in, acknowledging that Giudes has Energy Flux.
Yes.
And say, you know what, I do actually need a way to actually just kill that Energy Flux, even though it might mean that like I've lost a bunch of my artifacts. Energy Flux itself is such a powerful card and interacting with the bot's deck, not just on that turn, but all subsequent turns. So sometimes you can come back from something like destroy a bunch of artifacts, but Energy Flux sticking around and saying all your artifacts now have an upkeep cost of 2 colorless mana. That makes it really, really hard unless you have a Tellurian Academy out and something like a Candelabra of Tornos.
Yeah, so like, Wastegate can be a bit of a funny card sometimes. I think it does solve a lot of issues that you might have, but it's a bit clunky.
Yeah. Being a 3-cost answer, it is a bit awkward like that, but it also gets hit off a bunch of things like Ancient Stirrings and things that look for colorless spells off the top of your library. So
Yeah.
can be quite good at finding the right thing.
So Thomas Bot leading off with a Urza's Saga into Stonecoil Serpent and a Mox Opal. Just getting the spells deployed as quickly as possible so that there's no chance for Giudes to snipe it out. Doesn't need to save the Mox Emerald, the Mox Opal for anything. Also has the Ancient Tomb, which is why he's played the Urza's Saga first, because he is going to start being able to make constructs, which is going to put so much pressure on board so quickly and onto Giudes' life total.
Yeah.
He's got Misty Pass, and then Bot's also got a Talon Gates Madara to just clear a blocker that might exist.
Yep. So you can just play that and phase something out. Ancient Tomb coming into play here, tapping to add 2 colorless, which means that we can use that to generate some constructs with the Urza's Saga. It's such a powerful play. Turn 1 Urza's Saga, turn 2 Ancient Tomb, even without any other artifacts.
Oh yeah, and this is going to allow Thomas Bot to play around Giudes' early interaction and punish him for not getting on board, and then punish him if he does get on board by going over the top.
Yep.
So Giudes choosing to fetch for a Surveil land instead of deploying the Ragavan turn 1.
Yep.
Likely signals he's got some kind of interaction, if not bluffing it.
Yep. The other thing that this sets Thomas up for is, you know what, Giudes, if you kept a hand with like 2 lands and an Elrod, I actually don't care. Because I'm just going to beat your face in with some big XX construct tokens.
Oh yeah, it's those things get big, scary, and really fast.
So we surveilled and found days on the top of our library, which Giudes decided to keep.
Yeah, one thing that's going to be a little awkward about this days now is that this Urza's Saga can choose to find a Mana Vault.
Oh, it can choose to find a number of things.
It can choose to find many things.
Yeah.
And it's going to really... Thomas has got pick of the litter here. Getting to make a construct, then probably another construct, and then maybe something else.
Yep.
And turns the Mox Opal on as well. This is now online.
Now online.
So Giudes has 1 Shintong in hand. I think that's going to be his play if nothing else happens.
Makes sense.
So like, the 1 Shintong is going to come into play because in response to the Urza's Saga.
Yeah, makes sense.
It's going to draw him an extra card. And because of that, Thomas Bot is going to have used 3 mana, or invested 3 mana, to make these constructs.
Yep, makes sense. And is going to get a plus with that plus counter. It can actually do some damage when you've got an Ancient Tomb on the other side, tapping all the time. You can actually get into a situation where you might be able to raise, especially if you put something like a Price of Progress in the mix there, or a Pyroglyph, something that deals damage to the dome. You might be able to raise these constructs, but I do think you're going to have to do something about them because they're going to be quite large. So Thomas just hitting the tank here at the moment, choosing to tap for colorless and not make another token.
Yeah.
Are you scared? Are you scared if you're...
I'm a little scared. I think Tom has worked out that there's maybe free counter magic there. Maybe worked out that there's a daze and choosing, maybe I don't need this and I can just play the cards in my hand.
Yeah.
Maybe he's wanting to not overcommit into something like an Energy Flux as well and just start getting things out of the way. He does have a Chalice of the Void in hand as well as an Urza's Power Plant, so maybe he's thinking about what he wants to do with this Chalice. Ooh, goes for the Vexing Bauble. This is going to turn off the daze and any other free counter magic Giudes might have, which means Giudes is tapped out and Thomas Bot is free to run rampant this turn.
Yeah. So we might see a Chalice deployed knowing, hey, you shields are down, mate. You don't have any counter spells. I know you got like Daze, I know you got Force Negation, I know you got Force of Will, but not this turn because this Vexing Bauble has turned that off.
Yeah, Consign of Memory, the draw from the Washitong, Got a Urza's Power Plant, 1 mana and floating. We have access to 5 mana this turn.
Yep.
Using 4 of it. Got a Chalice on 2 here if you want it, but I like Lodestone.
Lodestone's pretty good.
It means that Giudes is only going to be able to play 1 spell next turn because everything is going to cost more than 1.
Yep.
Giudes being going to 3 lands. And the Vexing Bauble, of course, countering anything if no mana was paid for it. But it is a bit of a funny interaction, Lodestone Golem and Vexing Bauble, because you end up paying mana for your free spells.
Ah, yeah, what an interesting interaction. So we see an attack with the Constructor token. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 damage coming in, putting Matthew Giudes to 12. Thomas Bot on 16, with that Ancient Tomb being tapped a few times now.
Yeah, so Washi Tong also has Vigilance and Flying.
Yep.
Just goes in.
Yep, got to pay the tax.
Yeah, pays the tax.
Right.
I know Stonecoil Serpent has Reach.
Yeah.
There's 2 cards in Eldraine that have Reach, where you're just like, why does this thing have Reach? And the other one being Questing based, of course, which doesn't have Reach.
Really?
Does it have Reach?
Haste, Trample, Vigilance. It does not have Reach. So Thomas Bot, stopping for a second here. Really important. We're playing for a potential Black Lotus into the finals. So sometimes we just got to slow down a little bit and go, okay, what am I losing to here?
So Talongate's Mandara here gets to phase out the Washi Tong. And then we get to pay a bunch of mana. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which also means we can filter with the Talongates and Mandara if we need the colored mana for the Waterscape Battle Mage. But we have a Forsaken Monument as the draw for...
And that exact interaction.
That
exact interaction. Wow. So that Lodestone Golem, wow. Let's be clear. Still really good here. It's still 5.
It's hitting it for 5, and it buffs the construct. So what it likely means is Giudes doesn't lose on the spot here.
Yeah. So 2 artifact creatures coming in for 5 damage each. If that goes unblocked, then that'll put Matthew Giudes down to 2 life.
Yeah, I think I'm not sure what Giudes' outs are here. Like he might have to be chump blocking with this Ragavan. Maybe he needs an energy flux.
Yep,
Even
but you
then,
can't play that because of the Lodestone Golem.
Yeah, he's had to return a land to hand with Daze. So he takes 5, goes down to 7. He's going to have the Washi Tong next turn. Phase back in.
Yep, so you got an extra blocker there.
Tom passes the turn. I think he was debating if he needed a Chalice on 0, but he's got a Vexing Bauble in play. And
Yeah,
that
the
would be
Vexing
bad
Bauble.
for 2 reasons.
Yeah, like redundant and bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tax for 2.
Get in there, you little bird.
All right, Giudes is trying to make the scoreboard as even as possible. Plays land and passes. Murktide in hands, brought to the front. Consigned to memory another one. I think maybe Spire Deadpool.
Okay. So Giudes is on 7 at this point in time. We've got 2 5-power creatures and a 1/1.
Yeah, things are a bit scary right now for Giudes. Thomas Bot has drawn the Urza's Bauble, which he cannot cast. Because it is an artifact. And Lodestone Golem says, not artifacts.
Well, he can cast it. It'll just get counted.
Yeah, not a good idea to cast.
Yeah, look, it's not the best idea. So we might see a deployment of the Chalice here.
Yeah, I think Chalice on 1 or 2, shutting off some of Grixis' outs, might just be a bit of a safe play. Like, one of the scarier things Grixis is going to do is play a bunch of spells in a turn, but Tom has insulated himself against that by playing both the Vexing Bauble, getting the Vexing Bauble, and playing the Lodestone Golem.
Yep. I could certainly see just going, you know what, I want to turn this construct into a 6/6 so that I can then also attack with the Serpent and say you're going to have to chump block this 6/6.
Yeah.
Right? So that I then get in for 6 damage, putting Giudes down to 1, turning off fetch lands, and meaning that the Stonecoil Serpent is lethal the following turn. So just wanting to have 1 extra artifact in there before we attack.
Right. Yep, so he's going to have to chump block one of the 5 costs anyway, so it's just really forcing which one he has to drop. But Waterscape Battle Mage gets to come in and bounce this. But we have a consign with more than 1 trigger this time.
Yeah? So explain to me what's going on here, Dylan.
So, Wastecape Battle Mage has been kicked. It's come in, and what it's trying to do is bounce the Washi Tong.
Yep. And was it trying to also be a 2-2?
And it was also trying to be a 2-2.
Okay, so counter the 2-2 and the triggered ability of bouncing my creature.
Yep. So play an island and Colligan's command ourselves. Yeah, good play. I'm having full agency in this. Judas going to -1, not letting Tom take those last few points.
Yeah, and you see that chuckle at Giudes as he's shuffling up. Definitely, I'm going to take the style points here. Thank you very much.
Oh yeah, you gotta really show who's in charge.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so what do you think changes from the Grixis side as you are going to be on the play for the last game?
So game 3, when you're on the play, your Thoughtseize effects are much more appealing in your opening hand.
Yep.
So you're needing to rely less on things like Force of Will, Force of Negation. It also means days can be really powerful as well on the draw if you get to like develop something like maybe a discard spell, maybe a rag event, and then cast the days onto whatever they have. Any sort of information. You have a wider breadth of hands that you can keep in the matchup when you're on the play.
Yeah, it makes sense. Like turn 1 Ragavan with something like a Days backup, or Thoughtseize Inquisition. Do we have the Duress? Like, does the Duress
I
stick in the mix?
keep Duress in this mix. It's especially good on the play if it's in your opening hand. You do get to usually break up the mana that exists out of the deck. You may not be able to take some of the payoffs or anything else, but you can hit the mana.
Makes sense.
This is all also being on the play means you get to your 3-drops faster, which means you might be able to land an Energy Flux on turn 3 in case you have some really explosive start. It means you could Colligan's command on turn 3 if you really needed to just take them off that extra piece.
Yep.
It also just means that you can deploy some threats, leaving open counter magic.
Yeah.
Things like Tassiger or Dragon's Rage Channeler, some just cheap stuff. It also means you get to Deadpool faster.
Yes.
So if you play Deadpool on 4 when you've made your bot's opponent stumble and then that's the next thing, that might be enough to just win the game.
Okay, yeah. I think from the bot side of things, the real big difference here is how you mulligan. So being on the draw means you have to acknowledge that Thoughtseize Inquisition and Duress are far more likely to rear their ugly head. And so you're going to keep a wider variety of hands because you want to be able to do things even though you get something countered, destroyed, or Inquisitioned out of your hand. And so that means that like maybe I want to slow down a little bit as the bots play. I don't want to rely on this like hyper-aggressive, like really good turn 1 play. Instead, I'm going to be saying, look, this game's going to go on for another couple of turns. I'm not going to have this haymaker on turn 1 because the likelihood of some kind of interaction is much higher. So really, similar kind of cards you're going to have in your deck, but very different in the way that you approach the mulligan decisions.
Yeah, you don't want to just get run out of resources too quickly because you've gone all in on something that got broken up by a single piece of interaction. These games go much longer, and Judas being on the play means he will have that mana advantage and more ability to have agency over what does and doesn't resolve.
Yeah. One of the big cards that I want to see as Thomas Bot is that Urza Saga. Uncounterable.
Oh, card is so good into Grixis.
So good.
Card is so good into any fair deck.
Yeah. So
like,
creating, wow, we saw here, not creating 2, but just creating 1 construct, but going, I'm going to use this mana to then be able to do a bunch of different things. I'm going to play my Lodestone Golem out. I'm going to tax your mana, as well as having the construct from the first one and getting the Vixen Bauble so that you can't play the Force of Will.
Yeah, I think because Judas played the Washi Tong, Thomas Bot chose to not make the construct and instead deployed the Lodestone Golem. But I think if mana had just been left open, Thomas Bot would have gone for the make a second construct and maybe found something else instead of the Vexing Bauble.
Yeah.
All right, Judas getting ready. Thomas Bot looking ready.
And look at these two, just smiling, laughing, talking to each other, having a good time, even though we're talking about thousands of dollars worth of prizes. Hats off to the 2 of these players for being such good sports in this awesome game.
They've been in these spots plenty of times. They know what it's like to play for high stakes. They know what it's like to be at the top tables. They know what it's like to have really large prizes on the line. They are no stranger to it.
Yeah, for sure.
These guys can play under some of the most insane pressure. Like, you can watch some of Judas's Pro Tour coverage matches, like stone cold master sometimes.
Yep, for sure.
And then maybe we'll see Thomas Bot later at Worlds this year.
Oh, yeah.
He was qualified for Worlds as he won one of the previous RCs, playing Eldrazi.
Eldrazi, yeah, bots.
Bots.
yeah.
He loves his colorless stuff.
Yeah, like really taught the world really how good Fleshraker was.
Yeah.
So hadn't really seen a lot of play before Thomas actually put it in his modern deck and then won our Australian RC, and then it kind of rippled throughout the world. So no stranger to high stakes Magic, old Thomas Bot here. Oh, that was the fastest mulligan I've ever seen.
There was no lands in that hand. There was a Force of Will, but no lands. And, you know, you need lands out of Grixis. It's not like you can cheat mana some other way.
Yep.
Not like you have free spells.
Yep.
They're all reactive, unfortunately. But
Yeah. No. Look, sometimes you can get away with one land with like a Ponder, a Preordain, Brainstorm, that kind of thing. But 0 lands, no. Can't really justify that one.
Yeah. Thomas Bot looks like he's kept. I see a Forest. I see a Tezzeret Cruel Captain.
Oh, jeez, that card.
That card is scary.
Yeah, 3-cost Planeswalker. It enters with 4 loyalty counters and has got -3. Search your library for an artifact card with mana cost either 1 or less. Reveal it and put it into your hand, then shuffle. And then 0 is untap target artifact or creature. If it's an artifact creature, put a possible counter on it. So often it untaps things like Mana Vault, Grim Monolith. And then it's also got this ability of whenever an artifact you control enters, put a loyalty counter on Tezzeret. So when you're generating artifacts out the wazoo, sometimes you can just go, yep, I'm going to play this, and I'm going to tick it down, I'm going to find an artifact. And the next turn, I'm going to tick it down and find another artifact.
So this is a really interesting hand from Giudes. He's got a Verdant Catacombs and Expressive Iteration in hand. He's got a Force of Negation in hand. Dalthy Voidwalker.
So what a
Lorien
revealed.
Lorien revealed. So I think he's going to Badlands, cycle the Lorien revealed, go get Underground Sea.
That makes sense. So I can deploy this Dalthy Voidwalker and then potentially do some shenanigans with the Thought Seize off the top.
Yeah, so Thomas Bot leading with an Ancient Tomb and not having a turn 1 play. Very, very good sign for Giudes.
Yeah, well, this is what we talked about earlier, where something like a hand that is like a little bit more resilient to interaction and disruption means that Thomas Bot isn't going to mulligan to this great turn 1, do a bunch of things play, but instead go, look, I got to make sure that I've got game if I get interacted with. So keeping a hand with Ancient Tomb, which does tap for 2 colorless mana, and then seeing what's up, I think that's a great play by Thomas Bot.
So Thomas Bot has a City of Traders in hand, meaning he's going to have access to 4 mana if he so desires it. Also has a Nettlecyst in hand, which is can be very big and scary. Basic Forest and Urzaland by the looks of it, or maybe that's a Mana Vault. So City of Traders, we're going to have access to 4 mana. We just have a Thought-Knot Seer. We can't force a negation that's a bit unfortunate. So it just shows us the Kolaghan's Command, Preordain, Expressive Iteration, and Force of Negation. So
interesting. So you're going to have a look at your hand. Do I want to take that Force of Negation because it's going to maybe counter my spell?
Well, Thomas has got 3 lands in hand alongside a Nettlecyst, Karn, Scion of Urza, and Tezzeret Cruel Captain. So the Force of Negation currently looks like the scariest spell as it hits every single card in your hand.
It does, but it also costs 2 cards from Giudes.
That is true. And if you've got enough threats, then maybe you don't need to worry about it too much. Maybe you're worried instead about the Expressive Iteration drawing into some cards that are going to like maybe take over the game.
Yeah, or even just finding lands. So you might want to go, look, I'm going to take this Expressive Iteration. I'm going to get my next spell Force of Negation, but that means that you're going to have to pitch that Preordain, and that's not going to find you any lands, and you're going to be stuck on 2 lands.
Yeah, so it'll be a tight race at that point between the Dalthy Voidwalker and the Thought-Knot Seer.
And the Ancient Tomb. Don't forget about the Ancient Tomb.
And the Ancient Tomb.
Yeah,
not to mention the City of Traders as well.
Yeah. Well, the City of Traders isn't doing damage. Ancient Tomb is doing...
the City of Traders is going to go away soon, though.
Currently MVP for damage is Ancient Tomb.
All right, Tom goes with the Force of Negation. I think he's just going to want to force through like maybe this Karn, to be honest.
Yep.
So goes for the EI. Says land, Price of Progress, and Thought Scale. Puts the Price of Progress into his hand.
Immediately.
Wooded Foothills into play and Thought Scale to the bottom.
Yeah.
So
and that Ancient Tomb MVP again.
Yeah.
Like with the doing extra damage with the Price of Progress.
Maybe we're a bit more keen on the City of Traders now. Going away. So Giudes also like snap put a card in his hand, which makes it look like maybe interaction or something else. Goes and gets the Volcanic Island here and gets cast the Preordain.
Maybe I did the wrong life total somewhere.
Players just making sure there's not Delirium or something.
Yeah, and also making sure that we've got the right life totals.
Yep, Giudes taken 2 damage from his own fetches, and Tom has taken 2 damage from his mana and 3 damage from Dalthy.
Yep.
So goes for the Ponder. Very pretty Ponder, mind you.
Yeah, yeah. Time shifted.
So he's Counterspell, Null Rod, and Duress. Oh, these are all really good cards, but these all might be a little late.
Yeah.
Like, if Khan's Scion of Urza comes down, things could start getting a bit scary, but Giudes does have the Kolaghan's Command. So he chooses to put the Duress into hand. I think he's left Counterspell on top afterwards.
Yep, makes sense.
So next turn, looking to Duress and leave open Counterspell. Or maybe this Douthie sees something Giudes likes.
You know what I'm hoping for in this game?
What?
Well, I really enjoyed commentating with you, Kakawa.
Yeah.
And this is game 3.
Oh, you want to go to a game 4?
Oh, I want to go to a game 4.
Okay, yeah. Look, I would love to see a game 4 too.
Yeah. So how will we see a game 4? For those at home wondering exactly how that's going to happen.
Draws do not... Most games of Magic do not end in a draw naturally. You can draw games, but usually it requires both players to lose at the same time. And this is probably the most common thing we see in Highlander of hack games drawing, is price of progress. Because it deals a lot of damage to both players at the same time, and life totals are pretty stretched in Highlander, so it's pretty quick way to kill you.
Yeah, so you can definitely get to this situation like, oh no, I'm going to lose next turn, so I'm going to play this price of progress and kill both of us. Let's start again.
Yep, and the player who was on the play gets to once again decide who is on the play for a drawed game.
Yep.
So if Giudes feels like he can't get out of it, needs to get back in, and it's a nice little out to have.
Yeah, nice little out to have. So, Tezzeret Cruel Captain coming into play, going down to 1, searching for a 1 or less artifact, and we're seeing Mana Vault come into play. We've got 1 colorless mana floating at the moment, so have the ability to play that Mana Vault, and then see what else we got available. See what else we want to do.
So there's an expedition map in his hand, as well as the basic forest, and Thomas Bott is well aware of the price of progress plan against him. We saw him previously playing around it.
Yep.
Just in other rounds. Been watching a bunch of the tables and stuff. It's been scary watching him, really.
Yeah. All right. So the Mana Vault deployed, ticking up the Tezzeret Cruel Captain. And if we can get 2 more artifacts in there, then that Tezzeret Cruel Captain no longer loses to the Dorothy Voidwalker.
Yep. So we're going to play a Nettle Cyst.
All right. So
And
that's
then
ticking up to 3.
I think we're going to play the expedition map to tick up the Tezzeret to 4.
Wow. So just saying, hey, look, you can put pressure on my Tezzeret. Right? You can do 3 damage, and you probably want to, because otherwise they're going to search for another 1-cost artifact. But it's still not dying.
Yeah, and it's just going to get bigger, and if Thomas plays 2 artifacts, he can just tick it up again and search if he really wants to.
Yep.
And I can imagine him finding something like Shadow Spear here, to be honest.
Yeah, just going, I want to make sure that I am out of price of progress range. So Giudes is on 14, Thomas Bott on 13. We've got a 3/2 Dorothy Voidwalker that has Shadow, so unblockable, but also can't block, unless they've got Shadow. And just stopping and hitting the tank. Like, let's just take a beat here. I was very, very quick with putting that prize of progress into my hand. But now I've got to make sure how I can maximize this.
Yeah, so Giudes knows the top card of his deck as well. So he's definitely thinking a lot about this stuff. Maybe he's thinking if he wants to leave a Kolaghan's Command open, but I think he's going to go for the Duress, make sure there's no funny business, gets the Khan, gets it under the Douthie Voidwalker, which means he could try that game plan if he wanted, but I don't think it's going to be particularly effective. So instead, the Douthie Voidwalker going to Thomas Bott. We're ignoring this Tezzeret.
Yeah, now, if you're Thomas Bott, what are you thinking there? Are you we've seen him play around the price of progress, so maybe that means he goes, you know what? If you're attacking me instead of the Tezzeret that can search for an artifact, that means that you really want to do some damage.
Yeah, so he's going to take 1 damage off the Mana Vault here.
So down to 9.
Down to 9.
4 damage in play.
What's your favorite card he's just drawn? Serum Powder.
Serum Powder. Not the. Yes, it is. It is one of my favorite cards, but not exactly where you want to draw it.
I mean, at worst, the card is a Mana Rock. It's a very slow Mana Rock, but it's a Mana Rock.
So we've got 1, 2, 3 artifacts in play at the moment. That Tezzeret can make a 4th artifact and might get that equipment to give lifelink.
I wonder if Thomas Bott is currently thinking about sacking the expedition map to find a Solarian Academy.
Yep, and then going, if I want to do that, though, I'm going to have to tap this Ancient Tomb. I'm going to have to go down to 7.
Yeah, and that means the price progress is going to be 6.
Yep. So he's stopping and he's in the tank. He's thinking about this. He's aware of the potential for that, but he might also be thinking, am I just dead to the price? Like, am I able to like stay in this and do enough damage? We've got 1, 2, 3 artifacts at the moment, so 7 damage.
Goes and searches.
Yep.
The other thing is, if Tom just attacked with the Nettle Cyst and the Thought-Knot Seer, it would make the Price of Progress a draw. So it cuts off the line of Giudes potentially going end of turn, Colligan's Command, deal you 2 damage, and then Price of Progress for lethal.
Yep, makes sense.
But I think we're going to see a Shadow Spear here from Thomas Bott.
Well, he might have also sided it out, though.
He might have.
So Thomas hitting the tank for quite a while, but then picking up his deck and searching out a couple of different options in order to assess exactly what he wants to do.
Oh,
This is actually
tight.
like it's so close.
He's looking at Walking Ballista.
Oh, like maybe I can just kill this Dorothy Voidwalker.
1, 2, 3, 4. So that'd be 5 artifacts plus the Thought-Knot Seer. So 9 damage. We need to make a 5/5 Ballista.
Well, in order to kill here, but you can also just kill that Dorothy Voidwalker and get that out of the way.
Oh, yeah, that's true. So it does choose to go for the Walking Ballista.
Yep.
Makes me think he's trying to play around removal, if not, playing around Price of Progress. May not have the Shadow Spear.
Now, importantly, Price of Progress is about non-basic lands, and we've also got a forest.
Yep, we've drawn the basic forest, and I think Tom might be heads up enough to play that. Takes 2 damage, plays a Ballista on 2, and eats Counterspell.
All right, and then straight underneath, that was a very fast Counterspell. We're seeing an attack here for 7 damage, putting
Giudes to 7.
But also, Giudes has got 3 damage on the Dorothy Voidwalker.
And the pop.
And the pop.
That's lethal.
That's lethal.
And Giudes is surviving on 1.
6 damage from 7 down to 1, attacking for exactly lethal. You see Giudes like, oh, that's a fast untap. That's a fast untap. That's a fast attack. Get in there. Get in there.
Price of Progress. Oh, that's so good. Giudes takes it.
Takes it down. So amazing.
What a masterful play.
Yeah, Giudes just going, I know exactly what I'm doing here. I'm going to play this counterspell. I'm going to Price of Progress, and it's going to be exactly lethal, putting me to 1 life.
Every point there mattered, and Giudes showcasing that precursor, game 2, by Colligan's commanding himself. He says, no, I control the life totals. I control your life total. I control my life total. No shops for you.
Down to 1 and pulling out the win. Amazing stuff there. Really well done. Congratulations to Matthew Giudes, and congratulations to Thomas Bott as well, taking away your Time Vault for making the top 4. Absolutely nothing to sneeze at. And third, 4th in 312 players. Absolutely amazing. So congratulations to both of these players. Oh.
And Giudes has just secured himself at least a Mox Emerald.
At least a Mox.
At least a Mox Emerald.
That's absolutely amazing.
How many tournaments have you say you've been to where second prize was a Mox Emerald?
Oh, I couldn't even tell you how many were like first place was a Mox. Like, absolutely incredible. Such a good tournament, and congratulations to both of these players. I'm just like shaking in my boots. This is absolutely great.
It's great, and even better, we have the other top 4 match to bring you, being hosted by Dylan and Ian.
Excellent.
They've got a fun one of you, Christopher Tong and Richard Owen.
Yep. So we're going to see a Storm versus
Grixis.
Okay, so that'll be really interesting, and then we'll have a Grixis versus one of these in the finals.
We could have a Grixis mirror. We could have a Grixis versus Storm final.
Yep.
But whatever it's going to be, it's going to be interesting.
And that's going to come up real soon. So we're actually just getting the players set up at the moment. We'll switch over the coverage team so that you can have Ian and Dylan commentating in this other semi-final match, and then we'll get into the finals.
Yep, we'll be back for the finals, and I'm really excited for it.
Black Lotus time.
Black Lotus
time. So good. All right, thank you very much. I'm Isaac Lee. This is Dylan Kakawa. We'll see you very shortly with another semi-final match and then the finals for the Black Lotus event.
Signing off.